A report just reaching us says there is an ongoing gas leakage from a pipeline in a bush somewhere around the outskirts of Yenagoa, the Bayelsa state capital. The facility is believed to be owned by the Nigerian Ajip Oil Company. Arise correspondent Ovieteme George joins us now for an update.
In the Niger Delta, blessed with oil and gas, oiling the wheels of the Nigerian economy since 1956, June to be precise. But then pollution seems to be the narrative for many decades. And looking right behind me, gas spewing into the air, the rage of a storm, more like into the forest in the Azikoro axis, somewhere around the outskirts of Yenagoa, the state capital. It looks more like a third-party interference when we got there earlier on. But that is just the sad narrative that we just woke up to see this morning.
Well, Ovieteme, what is Ajip saying about this, this gas leakage? And then what are the emergency authorities also doing about it?
I would say it is still early in the day. One thing it is quite common in the Nigerian context is that oil companies do not swiftly address to incidents of pollution. It takes a lot of time. You remember the case of the ITO? That was a bit technical, a month and 8 days. But this just happened last night. There was a loud explosion, we were told, and it looked like it had been sealed. But we got information and had to hurry down here only to see that the gas is still more like the rage of gas from a pipeline. But I also have here an environmentalist, Maurice Alagwa, project officer. Yes, he's also here with me, Environmental Rights Action Friends of the Earth, Nigeria. Maurice Alagwa, what can you say about this?
Well, another raging gas leak. And as we speak, this has continued right from early, before even dawn, till now. As a matter of fact, the Environmental Rights Action received several calls, and before I mobilized down here, I reached out to the zonal director of the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency, and as a matter of fact, he confirmed to me that he has also visited. And when we arrived here, we also saw the State Minister of Environment officials, even though they refused to talk to the press. But this is one too many if we want to talk about polluting incidents of the oil industry in the Niger Delta.
Well, like we all agree, it is yet another addition to the sad narrative in the Niger Delta. Please, we're looking at the camera, please. So what does this really mean? Looking at the forest, what is the implication to this area right now? Because nobody knows the quality of gas. If it is that inflammable, we really can't be standing at this point. So what can you say about this?
Well, of course, we have had incidents where unknown to community people going to farm with live coal, they met a gas leak and then it caught fire, and then the persons were seriously injured. Same on Ajip pipeline. Incidentally, this is also on Ajip pipeline in the Azikoro area of Yenagoa local government area. And if you look at it along the pipeline, you can see giant ant hills. Giant ant hills.
Ovieteme, if you can hear me, we're wondering about if you can give us some perspective as to the environmental impact that this leak might potentially have. Is there a smell that you perceive? Are there fears that it might catch fire soon? What exactly are the implications of this gas flare, especially if it isn't cordoned within the next few hours?
Well, Hawa, if it were possible that it would ignite, I would have left here hours ago. I wouldn't have been standing not too far away from where the trouble spot is. I would have run away. One has to live to tell the story tomorrow. But this, I really can't say. There's no smell. I don't know the quality of gas, but then one cannot take too many chances. That's the reason we're doing this interview some kilometers away from the troubled spot. But I was introducing the project manager of the Environmental Rights Action Friends of the Earth, Nigeria, Maurice Alagwa, to tell us about the implication of this in this forest.
Yeah, thank you very much. We are not feeling much of the smell or the impact down here because it is going up, raging with pressure, going up horizontally. That is why we are not feeling it down here. But as a matter of fact, we have seen heard of situations where gas leak like this on the lower level got ignited and injured people going to farm with live coal. So this is really, really dangerous both to the health of the people, which medical expert will have to say, and environmental expert. This is raw gas, even worse than the flared gas. But it's also, you can see, it also concerns the issue of security. And that is why the recently awarded contracts for pipeline security becomes very paramount. It is not only securing the pipelines, but also to ensure that those who are perpetrating the acts of third-party interference are also made to face the law. Because going to the site, we saw the evidences that it was a third-party related incident. Fresh mods that were dug, and then battery and some wires laid towards the point, meaning some explosive must have been detonated. So this is real third-party interference. Whether it is out of grievance, for one reason or the other, we do not know, but it is unacceptable.
Well, Maurice Lagwa, you've given us an insight into what this kind of gas can cause. But the concern here is this is one too many. Adding to the sad narrative of the Niger Delta, since oil was discovered in June 1956 in Ovieteme, oil and gas are replete in the Niger Delta. So this is a blessed region. However, where the multinational companies, the international oil companies sometimes could be very negligent, the people also add to the woes. For what we saw over there, a battery with a connection to where a freshly dug mount is, it means, from all indications, it's a third-party interference. It is sabotage. Earlier on, we saw officials of the National Oil Spills Detection Agency, that's the NOSDRA, going to the site. But I don't think they are willing to talk to us now. But again, capping it up, this is not what Nigeria needs at this point after a pipeline surveillance contract has been awarded. For that job to kick off, this is happening one too many. So Maurice Lagwa, what's your advice to the youth now? You've been an environmentalist for decades looking at this challenge.
Well, we cannot always put such things on the table of the youths. Some adults, matured, fatherly people can do this. It's not just a matter of youth, but whoever is indulging on such acts should desist from it, because it's not only an economic sabotage, but it adds to the already polluted environment of the Niger Delta, making it even more deadly for our people. Life expectancy is lower in the Niger Delta as a result of oil industry-induced pollution. While it is 52, 51 in other parts of the country, it is just about 42, 43 here in the Niger Delta. We need to live longer. Our people need to live longer. And so all such pollutive efforts, activities by man-made should be stopped. But again, there should be proper investigation as to why this happened. We should not just see issues like this and leave it. There should be proper investigation to ensure that we get whoever was involved to answer to questions.
What facility is over there? What facility?
Well, there are two pipelines here. One belongs to Shell, but this particular one belongs to Agip because it is gas. Shell's pipeline is oil, bearing oil. They are moving, they are just side by side. This one on the left that is spewing gas is Agip pipeline. And unfortunately, you can see there is no thoroughfare. We have giant ant hills growing on the pipeline, right directly on the pipeline, which also will give some kind of support, encouragement to those who have caused this, because if they are behind it and doing whatever they did to cause this, even in the daytime, nobody will see them. How much more in the night? So Agip should create thoroughfare in their pipeline and to ensure that there is security always on the pipeline. The federal government should also ensure that the contracts that have been given get going to prevent such things.
Thank you very much.
You are welcome.
Okay, Hawa and Temi Tokwe, that's the much we can take from this issue. We are concerned about this. But while often the fingers are pointed at the youth, there could be collusion sometimes with officials of multinational and international oil companies to do this. That's the situation here.
Oh, really sad. Ovieteme George, thank you so much for giving us that update, and please stay safe.